So excited to do another joint reading with you, Kathy. And today we're exploring the energies of the lunar eclipse in Gemini, and it's a partial lunar eclipse. You might have a little bit more on what's actually happening in the solar system because we have a lot at play today, right? Or in the next
Yeah.
few weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot going on. And with it being in Gemini, it's gonna be a lot of need to communicate, clear communication, keeping your
Mhm.
emotions like balanced and calm, being more social. Like even as introverts are gonna like feel like, we want to get out, talk to people. Um Also with the lunar eclipse, it's like a new moon, like a releasing, setting intention, but it's like more powerful.
Definitely with the follow up of the solar eclipse on December 14th. This feels like a big window of opportunity to explore what's most important.
Yes, and with the lunar eclipse, um, with the moon like symbolizing emotions and like your inner world, the eclipse of the moon is it's kind of like setting your emotions to the side so you can get a clear view, a clear perspective of what's really going on, like the current situation that's bothering you. So it's like you stepping out of that your emotional self and thinking more logical,
Mm.
get a
And I
firmer grasp on the situation.
yeah, I can see that. And it feels almost like the moon is like pushing things to the surface. And to me, that feels like a wake up call, like an opportunity to look at what's happening. And I like how you said putting the emotions aside so that you can actually see those bigger pictures, like that bigger picture of things. And yeah, kind of get yourself out of the way to see the truth.
Yes. But also one thing to be worried about or uh to be kind of mindful of, you're going to be really easily distracted with the moon in Gemini. Um
Mhm.
like you're going to want to occupy yourself like multitasking. Not so many people are good at multitasking, and right now you might actually believe that you are. You're not. Don't try it.
That's interesting. And what would you attribute that to? Is that more the Gemini, or is it that the whole eclipse season with everything else that's happening? Is that
I think that has a lot to do with the moon in Gemini, but also I'm guilty of this myself. We will try to like consume our mind and time with other things to avoid that shadow work and the stuff that we really need to take care of. So it could be from the moon in Gemini, or it could be because you want to subconsciously, you're like doing things to avoid what you really
oh,
need to be doing.
that makes sense. And I have so been there, like choosing to think about something that isn't as high priority. And I'm kind of getting the sense that this is a good opportunity to be honest with yourself. So, what's your blind spot? What aren't you looking at that needs attention? So, that's interesting that we haven't even spoken to that together. And
It's
it comes up, always happens with us.
yes, it's and being able to call yourself out on this shit is or on it. I'm sorry, on what like you're really doing that people may not even be aware of.
Mm.
It is really important, especially at a time like this, because this this eclipse energy is gonna things you do now are gonna like really set you in place for the next few months. Like it's gonna have a big impact for the next few months up into the new year.
I can see that. I can see that. And to me, it feels like a reshuffling. So this like what needs to go and what needs attention, like what
Mhm.
really needs, what do you need to tend to, and what needs to be weeded out.
Um, Also, I'm getting the urge to say something about listening to other people. When you have a conversation, it's back and forth. You speak, you listen, you speak, you listen. So when other people say that, hey, this is what you're doing, a lot of people will get offended and be, no, I don't do that. No, that's just what you think. That's not, no, but that's how they're taking you. And that's how you're coming off to the outside world. So keep in mind, like what other people say, while even though they may not be your intention, maybe you should try to, it's something in you that maybe needs some work. So don't discredit, what other people say. Take that into account too.
Yeah, and I think what you said about putting the emotions aside speaks here so that you're not taking offense, but choosing to discern, is it mine or is it theirs? Like
Yes.
which way are we going? Because I feel like a lot of masks are being uncovered right now.
Hmm.
Um, social anything that was like hidden is coming to the surface, whether that's internal truths or external. And I felt the need to say that the self-loathing right now has to go in order um, to allow that forward momentum energy.
Absolutely. One of one of the topics that you had spoken on in one of our conversations was self-worth and circumstances, and how does your self-worth play a part in your circumstances and vice versa. And it really does have more of a lead role than most people even notice or realize, because
Yeah,
how
I'm
you
sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm listening. I'm sorry. I didn't
No,
cut
you're
you off.
okay. So your situation, um it could be negative or positive depending on how you see yourself in that situation, if that
True.
makes sense. Like, if someone is coming to you with something negative, you could think that, oh well, they're just hostile, or they have a problem with me or something, or maybe they really do trust you enough and they know that you're, open enough to hear what it is they have to say. You know what I mean? It's all on how you view yourself.
Yeah. And I think there's like a dial. I mean, we can kind of swing back and forth. And again, that comes back
Mhm.
to that emotional awareness you spoke to. But are you living in victim mentality, woe is me, or are you taking accountability and can you empower yourself to be you and own your mess and clean it up? And that's far easier said than done.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it can be done. Um, that hard work is necessary to grow.
Yeah, this victim mentality stuff has to go. It's not the time. This is not the time for that. Like, with all of the situations, with the collective, like in general, if that hasn't shown you that that woe is me stuff is out the window, then just your inner world should show you. That should be enough evidence. Like, we're not put here to be miserable. We're not put here on earth to be sad. We're put here to face trials and tribulations and conquer them and be better, be stronger, and find joy in every situation. You can't do that if you feel like the world is against you. You're against yourself.
Oh, I like that, against yourself, because again, that's accountability for who you choose to put in your social circle, what you choose to put in your body, how you choose to manage your time, what thoughts you choose, what energies you take on. That's huge. But discerning what, again, what's yours and what's not, what needs to go and what needs to stay.
Absolutely. And that uh light and dark that I spoke about in the last video, like embracing that, like being the your authentic self. Your authentic self is light and dark. It's both equally in balance, and they come up when necessary in the situation. You can't get
Yeah.
rid of your darkness. You can't get rid of your light. Like, that is you. So you have to learn how to work with it.
Mm, yeah, definitely.
And in able
So
to do that, you have to acknowledge what it is, why it's there, what causes it to come up, like the darker parts of us.
I like that. What provokes it and why tangle with it? Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with your self-worth. Like, getting easily offended will could bring that darkness out of you. And then again, that goes back to your circumstances.
Yeah, it's that negative self-talk tape or that
Mhm.
same storyline, that same narrative. And I don't know about you, but I think even family dynamics, it's so much easier to create a new storyline when you remove yourself from situations. But when you come back to situations um, that were part of that darkness or fed that, that's where the magic is, to grow outside of that box wholeheartedly and completely shed that skin. And again, that's not easy. It's easier said than done. And I'm human too. So, yeah.
It is, and this journey towards healing is most certainly not for the weak.
Mhm.
And if I'm capable of it, if you're capable of it, anyone is capable of it, because none of us have anything that anyone else doesn't have or can't get.
It's taking that time for sure.
And
And
the what were you gonna say?
no, go ahead.
Oh, the other thing we had spoke on was like why we allow another person's actions to dictate who we are and how we present ourselves to the world. Give them back their shit and stop changing like our morals and our values to accommodate their weaknesses or their insecurities.
Yeah, and I have to say for myself specifically that that was a survival skill.
Absolutely.
That, and then I continued to play that out unknowingly until like eventually it just kind of like woke up and was like, wow, there's a pattern here of me giving myself away, giving away my power, and not even like recognizing that I have to take some accountability for my own actions and sweep up, get the
Right.
vacuum out, and you really have to like do some work and look at those things that don't feel pleasant. And I think the hardest part of not only cleaning that up is just feeling like you missed some time in the process, like
Yeah.
and letting that piece go
And
of
we have to realize in order to forgive ourselves for keeping that, we have to acknowledge we needed it. We took on that role, or a part of us took on that role for a reason when it was necessary. Like
Mhm.
like that inner demon that comes out when you need to, because that was a part of you that you conjured that up and you made that a part of yourself because you couldn't do things that part of you could. You don't need it anymore, so forgive yourself for living with it for so long and just move on from it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And whatever that looks like, whether that is
Hmm.
defensiveness, whether that is a drink, whether that
Yeah.
is a pill, whether that
Yeah.
is a toxic relationship or a slice on the side, that's another way for her to run from life.
Absolutely. Addictions and codependency
Yeah.
to anything.
Yep.
And I know personally, my addiction and my codependency was I was hurt and I wanted to numb from it,
Mm.
and I didn't want to face myself, and I didn't want to be with myself. And I've noticed like a lot of people that I've talked to and encountered, they have the same issue. They don't want to address these things 'cause they're afraid of it. But there's nothing to be afraid of. They're not. They're parts of you, and they're
That's gonna
there to be fixed.
yeah. I feel like sometimes it's like and I've done that. I always feel like no matter where I go, there I am. It just kind of
Mhm.
changes form until you finally like you can't run in circles anymore around yourself. And it's like I don't understand, even looking at myself, why it took so long to pause. And it's still a challenge because as soon as you like clean up something else, you're like, oh, I got to clean up that too. There's always
Mhm.
something there that needs to be done. I mean, a house, there's always something you can fix. A
Yep.
car, there's always something you can repair. So our, our spiritual selves, our mental bodies, our emotional bodies are no different.
Absolutely not. And like uh, the house analogy, making sure that your house is livable, and once you make it livable, make it luxurious. So you want to stay there. You don't want to run from it.
Mm. I remember you talking about that. When you said that house analogy, I thought that was huge. And then I was starting to think of like both the basement and the attic, that we
Yes.
not only like your living quarters, but also what's underneath the surface that we've become accustomed to, your traditions in your family, whatever karmic patterns you have, or whichever wounds from family ties, and then taking it like up too. Like, what are you storing? Like, we store things in the basement in the attic, but we don't have to. We don't have to
No,
keep that stuff. We can sift through those boxes and recycle it. You can keep it or let it go. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now.
absolutely. Like this is time to renovate your home. The way you want it to be, the way it was meant to be, like your dream home renovation. And in order to do that, you gotta not just like clean up the cobwebs and those boxes filled with generational curses that aren't your burdens to carry. All of that is it's time for it to all go. You have to sift through it, figure out you know, what's salvageable, what you need, not, what's taking up space. And
Mm,
if you have to, knock down some walls. Like get rid of some of those connections that you have to people that are just bringing you down.
mm,
Even if it's toxic family members or people like long time lifelong friends, if they're toxic to your sanity and your happiness, they gotta go.
oh, yeah. And
And
that's
that's a hard
easier
pill
said
to
than
swallow.
done. Yeah. Yeah.
and and because I know um personally, like with family and lifelong friends that I consider family, it was really hard letting them go. And you spend your life walking on eggshells to make these people happy, make them want to love you and this and that. Realize that's their shit, that's theirs. That's their insecurities that they're projecting onto you. Like,
Mm,
okay, you're like the saying is you live your life vicariously through your children. You want your kids to be what you weren't. So you push on them, to be a certain way. And if they don't end up that way, God forbid they be an individual, like the parent will get mad at the child or get upset or disappointed. If your parents upset with you, family members, friends, be who you are, find out who you are, and then play that part. Like live your life, be happy. Don't let their shit like tie you down. And I'm speaking on that because I did that most of my life.
yeah.
And I feel like it's very liberating to actually let that stuff go, no longer walk on eggshells.
I feel sandwiched between from like the past to now the present as a mother and wondering, and seeing my pitfalls as a parent. But at this point, having an adult daughter, it's like there's it's now her. Unfortunately, I've passed some unhealthy patterns on, and I did not love her the way that she needed. And I think this is interesting, and it happens in relationships a lot where we give the love that we want, not the love that's needed. And it's even to ourselves, but even how we play that those roles and like in relationships. So that hit when you said that. That hit
Yeah.
hard. That hit hard.
Yeah,
So
like if you think about it, like yeah, our parents, they didn't feel that they were the loving parent or protective parent that they thought we needed, but they were because we ended up these amazing people. We just have to let go of the things that weren't healthy or aren't healthy for us now, but they were exactly what we needed. And life has proven itself time and time again to give us what we need to survive.
you said something the other day about the universe always knows, and that like I don't have your exact words right now, but that's like screaming out right now the way that you put that. And it's like spirit knows better than our brains do. And it's
Absolutely.
like if we could constantly get out of our way and listen to that, then we'd be
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, because the universe sees things that we can't see. It knows what we don't know. And it knows what we need when we don't need it or we feel undeserving. And we're gonna receive it if we get the hell out of our own way. Get out of the way of your blessings. The universe wants to give it to you. And when you say I don't deserve this or I'm not worthy, then the universe is gonna say, all right, you're not ready for it yet. I'll come back when you feel ready.
Or keep presenting the same thing until you rise up. That's where I felt like I kept doing. I kept hitting the same patterns playing out in similar and different ways until I finally said, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm gonna make
Hmm.
some changes," And I can't say I'm there. I'm still learning every day is anew. So, you want to see
Absolutely.
what the cards have to say?
Yes.
What could be coming to the surface right now? I've given a lot of examples. Is anything else? Oh my goodness, I just got a chunk. Let's see. What was it? This really speaks loudly to everything that you were saying. Sense of a new love offering either to yourself from spirit, but with the 10 of cups blocking, like, are you blocking your own path and creating some sort of roadblock with your thoughts, with lack of integrity, of kind of going back and forth in what you are or aren't deserving, which choice you should make to rise above. This Knight of Swords is really telling me like an internal quick battle, but really what's being asked is to overcome and rise above. And sandwiching this kind of feels, a lot of emotions and a lot of thoughts here.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, Believe it or not, I got the moon. Um, Six of Swords, Eight of Cups, and Five of Pentacles.
Five of Pentacles. Yeah.
Um, I'm we have to okay, I came up with an analogy the other day about uh siblings. So we'll say twin brothers, and the parent favors one more than the other. So the one that's not favored is the one that acts out to get attention. So that's the parts of ourselves. Whatever part of yourself that you're ignoring is the one that's going to present itself more in your reality.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start nurturing all parts of you, then you'll be able to move on in harmony with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's time to go inside and, really start to work on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And we're coming out of that loneliness, that pain, the feelings of neglect, self-loathing. It's time to bring yourself out of the cold because no one is going to save you. And that's a sad reality of life. You have to save yourself. Lick your own wounds, heal yourself, and finally live the life that you deserve. You were put here to live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In both of these cards, the moon is showing with his eyes closed. And that's like going inside. Like when you close your eyes is to concentrate and to go in your head. So stop focusing on the outside world, what's going on, in the media or with everybody else but yourself. Really focus on what you have going on. Because at the end of the day, no one else really matters but you. They say the world doesn't revolve around you. Your world does. I'll be damned if, from my point of view, my perspective, everything around me is moving around me based on my actions, what I want, and what I bring to me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So happiness is a choice.
Hmm.
Definitely.
And
Thoughts is a choice.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, Bottom of the deck, I got the Knight of Swords. So the goal for this, I believe, this time period is to do the work to help assist others doing the work or that are afraid to do the work.
The Knight of Swords is to me like this charging energy.
Hmm.
And it can be that one that has an adult temper tantrum. It can be that one that creates a catalyst for change by shaking things up. It does seem like things are being shaken up a little bit in a different way, that the mirrors are happening a little bit different. I don't know if you're seeing that or not, but like that Knight of Swords charging in, I think it does point back to loving yourself and choosing your own happiness. Like you're saying, kind of take care of your own wounds, but how that energy comes to you might be a blessing in disguise for you to actually learn to discern your own emotional stability, emotional empowerment, um, like to be your own emotional powerhouse, so to speak, like empowering yourself with that
Absolutely.
space.
Absolutely.
Are you getting any? You have the moon. I have king and a knight. That's interesting. You spoke to a knight. Any other thoughts on that? That because is Mars at play as well, right? Or did it's Neptune? I'm just trying to think. Think.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know. Remember, I didn't even check that. I meant to look at
Yeah.
it. Um,
Yeah, I didn't mean to, yeah, it was just a thought, kind of thinking out loud because it looks like
well,
more fire.
yeah, a lot. I think this is gonna like. mm, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry, it's my
Oh no,
shuffling
no,
button.
you're fine. You're fine. No, this is gonna be like it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be a hard time, but well, no, it's going to seem like it's gonna be hard. It's gonna seem like it's gonna be too much to carry, but it's gonna happen exactly as you need it to happen. When you
I
need
like
a break is gonna come. When you have energy to, push a little further, you're gonna be faced with things that help you go a little further. So you're assisted in this.
yeah, yeah, I like that idea, the persisted, but I think it's coming from places we don't necessarily recognize.
Yeah.
Um, and it's about allowing yourself to I'm just the word accountability is coming on really strong. That you're choosing your own gateway. You're choosing what you create in your own world. You're choosing not only what you manifest, but you have that opportunity to keep squawking at the same thing or rising up and being grateful um, for what's being presented. And blessings in disguise are here. Catalyst for change. It's there.
Absolutely. And okay, so with this card, I don't know if you can see it.
Mm, mm.
You
Okay.
see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so like to me, I was seeing like a blood river in the desert, and he's like charging out of that. He's leaving that. He's
Mhm.
moving on towards where the trees are growing. Like he's moving on to like more fruitful lands, and he's covered head to toe in armor and protected.
And I guess the first thought that comes to mind is what armor is being like what armor are you putting on? And maybe I'm speaking for myself because I have armored up, from myself and others out of fear. And again, some of it is survival. Um, and a perceived threat is no different than a threat. Like you
You're
could
absolutely
take it
right.
in different ways, but
Mhm.
that armor is interesting. And
Yeah,
that when you armor up, do you really know what you need? Do you really know what you want? Do you know what's safe and what's not if you're constantly guarded? And again, I'm speaking from my own experience that I continue to um, work through.
Underneath the Knight of Swords was a strength card, and
Mm,
I was pointed to the infinity symbol above her
mm,
head, taming the beast. Um,
okay.
you're whole, you're complete. Everything happened in your life to prepare you to heal from what happened in your life. I don't know if that makes sense. Did I say that right?
It does.
All of your
Especially,
experiences prepared you to heal from your experiences because you're built for this. You're literally built for this shit.
mm-hmm. And that gives a sense of empowerment. Like I can rise above, I can overcome, I can manifest, I can recreate, I can co-create. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of us have been through some really traumatic things that we really shouldn't have had to go through. But if we could go through them, of course we can heal from them. We survived it. Now we just have to release it, let it go, keep the
I,
lessons that we got from it.
mm-hmm. I think that's huge. And that learning, I think a huge piece of it is learning that I like that you said we got past it, but and again, everyone's trauma and experience is unique and they're their own. Is that you really can choose to get out of that circle and that cycle. Like, yeah, that is a choice.
This is a lot of inner child work with both the Six of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. There's an adult assisting a child in the same
Mm-hmm.
picture or with the child. This is spirit leading us from these harsh, choppy waters onto smoother waters, and we're
Mm,
protected. And the trauma, the harm, like wounded inner child of ours, like it's our job to heal them. It's our job to fix them. And we're coming out of that. We're coming out of that pain.
I think I get the sense when you were saying that calmer waters is we have to choose to get on that boat. Like we could stay on dry land, or you can set sail for that unknown. You
Mhm.
know, you can set sail for that unknown. And what do you want to create and recreate in your life?
Exactly. Now, if you're on an island, lonely, stranded on an island, which a lot of us feel a lot of the times, you have the choice to go through some choppy waters, get through it, but there's a paradise on the other side. People, margaritas, palm trees, you want to get there. But in order to get there, you have to take the journey. You have to take the trip.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, take that risk, but it's not really a risk. You're taking a risk by staying where you're at.
Mm, yeah. I wish I had this quote I had written down about that, about the risk. Like the risk became too. I can't. I'm gonna butcher it even trying. Mm.
um, yeah, like why wouldn't you want that change if right now, if your current state isn't what you want, why would you not? To me, logically, to me, it doesn't seem like an option. I'm not happy with where I'm at. I can't live like this. I can't keep on like this. I don't want to.
Mm,
So
mhm.
there's no other choice than to go. I'm not going to sit here and be miserable, which I did for so many years.
There's something about familiarity and moving outside of that box, I think, has a lot of fear. And then there's that other piece, you don't know what you don't know. I think I was telling you the other day, I'm like, more and more I have moments of clarity and joy and happiness. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Mm.
Like, what have I, you know, uh, why is that so surprising? And how
Well, we
exciting.
get comfortable with that uncomfortableness. It's like, you ever feel awkward when things are going really well for several days in a row? Like, oh gosh, I know a tsunami is going to hit me in my living room next. Like, you know something bad is about to come because things went good for so long. We have to get out of that mindset because we're comfortable with that uncomfortableness. So we get uncomfortable when we're able to actually get comfortable.
I love you.
We have to change from that familiar, uh, the hostile environment because a lot of the times it's self-imposed. We bring that shit on ourselves unintentionally, unbeknownst to us, but we could say or do something that would be a catalyst to catastrophe
Mm,
because we're in that mindset.
hmm I know I chose anger for a long time
Ooh,
because that was a lot safer to be in anger. But I missed a lot in
absolutely.
that space. Like, you miss happiness, you miss joy if you're angry at the world. But how much more beautiful the world became when I turned the dial from anger to gratitude and started
Yes.
seeing blessings, instead of keep trying to build walls to protect myself. Oh,
Yeah. What we say the other day, ew, feelings, what are those?
I know, right?
Get it off me. I don't want it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
But I'd rather deal with those feelings with like love and, you know, those gooey emotions and stuff than this cruddy shit that I put on myself. That stuff's not pleasant. Like, I don't want that.
Mm.
I'd rather have happiness. And so what if a little bit of extra stuff comes? It's better than the stuff that I put on myself. I'd be embarrassed for somebody to hear how harsh I've been to myself.
Mel Robbins talks about that. She said no one would, like, yeah, that we're our own worst enemies. She has a clever way of putting it that maybe is
Okay.
pretty obvious.
If my
I got the
father heard somebody else talk to me the way I talk to myself, he would whoop their ass. So I know he would whoop my ass if he knew how I was, going on myself.
so I feel the death card while you were talking came out, the hermit card. So it's like a death to that darkness inside, or death to the pattern, but it happens through going in and being with the self, shining that light in the dark, and that it is hangman energy right now at a crossroads of how you choose to see things and how you want to proceed.
Yes. And I'm getting like the death in the hermit card is kind of like I'm seeing a death to the ego, the negative parts of the ego that we don't need now that we used to need, like a death to that. But to find out what really needs to go, we have to really take the time to go inside and look.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're clearing out your closet, you don't just grab everything and throw it away. Like you shift through it and you're like, okay, this fits still, or
Mm-hmm.
this looks really good. I'll keep this, or I don't want this anymore because this was back when I was fat and I lost weight, so I'm not gonna ever get fat again. You know what I mean? Like it's stuff we don't need. Go inside.
Yeah. 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 This is interesting with the I have the Fountain Tarot and the Hermit card here. The light in the dark is shining through trees, and we're looking at winter energy here in this. So it really just highlights that idea of stillness, but also you can see the stars. So trusting the stars are aligning in your favor, it, it really is a choice.
They're
Again, that
literally aligning in your favor. um uh Queen of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, Four of Wands, Hangman, and Justice.
mm, that speaks to the same thing, that choice to move forward with compassion.
Yeah. And you're valuable. Know that. Like the Queen of Wands knows that she has everything to offer and she is beautiful and she is abundance. Now she's
Mhm.
abundant, she is abundance. And she offers abundance to anyone that comes into her life.
Yeah.
And on the card of the Knight of Wands, she's focusing not on, to me, not on the actual wand itself, but the leaves that are growing off of the wand, what's
Mm.
coming from it. So there are so many parts of us that are alive and growing. Like, we're constantly growing. Like once we reach puberty, we may stop growing physically, when we get to adulthood, but that's when we start growing internally, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Like
Mm.
really get to who we are. we don't ever stop growing. So she's focused now on, she's fine tuning who she is.
Nice. And I like that's, bookshelf with the justice card, that there is support externally, like through the cosmos, but also I feel like when the justice card presents itself, it's kind of saying like, you do not need to tip the scales. You do not have
Mm-mm,
to go out of your way
no.
to throw a punch, because spirit is the one that's going to handle all the business, that can see the bigger picture.
And the Four of Wands is a fist breaking through the heart and
Oof.
grabbing that wand that is still solid, not the one that's broken.
Mm. Yeah.
You're not broken at this moment. You may feel it. I may feel it, but it's not the case. It's how we perceive it.
Beautiful.
And the hangman is it's all about your perspective. To me, this reminds me of like some freaky, like fun times with your partner.
Right.
Like you getting hog-tied with your hair to your ankle. It's like a lot of people enjoy that. Some people may call it torture, but you see she's glowing. She's happy with where she is. And
Yeah.
like you said, the justice card, what's for you is gonna be for you. You don't have to worry about where you're going and what you're doing, and what's coming for you is not coming to you. Like what's was meant to happen is gonna happen.
Yeah.
You just have to make yourself ready for what it is you want. You can expect to
Mm.
be a millionaire and be a couch bum.
Good point. Yeah,
And the death card was at the bottom.
of course.
The
Of
death
course.
card. She's kissing a skeleton. And again, that speaks to me of like, embracing those parts of you that aren't so pretty.
Yeah. Kissing the guilt goodbye, kissing, uh, like letting it rest.
Yeah.
And I got the King of Spades and the Jack of Spades out, and I'm taking that as discerning, from high vibes to low vibes, meaning bigger picture energies or more of your ego based energies. The King of Spades to me sees the bigger picture and it might keep their mouth shut, whereas the
Hmm.
Jack might run in there and run their mouth. And sometimes you need to
Yeah.
put that aside, like you said, you put your emotions aside and play the hand you were dealt, like with a new perspective. I don't You might have another way to say that, playing the hand you're dealt, but doing it mindfully, skillfully,
Yeah. And
with
when you
good in.
speak on, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
When you speak on what you're doing, a lot of the times you're your own liability. Like you're your own downfall. You're messing yourself up.
Mm,
So you don't have to let other people know all the time what's going on with you or your next move.
I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. I feel like there's times when I have, sometimes I speak out because I want support. I do that a lot less now. But Brene Brown talks about it. Those moments that your emotions are at their highest. She was like, don't text, talk, write, or call. Like, just don't do it. And a lot changes when you take that pause. A lot changes.
The last time I encountered that, um, I immediately picked up my phone. I wanted to call someone like, hey, please validate me. Please tell me that I'm good enough, that I'm doing the right thing, that I've come far and I've accomplished so much. But then nobody else can validate what I've made, what I've done, who I am. Only I can do that. And apparently I wasn't doing that at the time. So then I had to take a look at myself again. Why am I not happy and content with who I am, where I came from? Why do I need someone else to tell me that?
Oh, it's not to say you don't like reach out for, some clarity,
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
heart. Like I've had some great conversations where the perfect questions were asked, not because I wanted to go there to explore the answer, but because I needed to.
Hmm.
Um, so that, I mean, I'm not saying that that isn't right to reach out. Like you have a point with validation, and I know there's other times like I've talked about what's happening, and it's because it's like it has some sort of insecurity behind it.
Right.
You can pass on this question, but just based on some of the conversations I've been having, I did pull out the wanted to kind of wrap up my end with the animal oracle. How have your dreams been with animals lately? I feel like spirit is coming through to help with those energies of empowerment through the animal kingdom, through the spirit realm. I don't know if you're seeing it, but that seems to be surfacing for people I've been talking to. And I think that's something to embrace, those energies that are coming in to help either fight your battles, fight your demons, and rise above, that it doesn't have to be just you, that you can call on guides, you can call on an angel, you could call on, a tiger spirit or a dragon to help you,
Right.
you know?
The angel, what's his name? Ariel. Um, I think he's for the nature, the archangel of nature and the underworld. I believe. I believe that's what it is. But that will assist you to like find out. He'll help you find out what animal guides to call on. But with my dreams, I've been getting spiders, and I've always had a big fear of spiders. And but spiders are actually amazing if you think about it. They weave their webs so intricately, so perfectly to catch its prey. They're amazing mothers, some all the way down to genetics. I read somewhere once that if you try to kill a spider, it'll be encoded in the DNA that they pass down to their children on how to avoid being captured or killed. So
Wow.
they teach their children so well. So the things that we like, uh, the things that we're healing from, we're healing our descendants and our ancestors at the same time.
Good point.
Um,
I
I got Lady Nada, Heart Awakening, awaken to acceptance and divine love, give and receive in balance.
mm,
In order to love other people properly and accept love, like you have to love yourself. Because if you don't accept love from other people, you're taking from them the opportunity and the beautiful feeling it feels to love you. They get from loving you. And that's
mhm,
not really loving them the right way. And a lot of the
mhm,
times that's because we don't really love ourselves or feel worthy of love.
mhm. Yeah, I've, that lands. That
Hmm.
whole not feeling worthy of love, and it changes what you will allow to come your way, or over giving it all, that shows up in so many different ways. That's huge.
And Lord Ganesh, he talks of obstacles being removed. You do have support from the spirit realm, and your connections are increasing. The more you heal, the closer your connection and communication is with the divine, your higher self, and your ancestors. Mercury is all about communication. Get stuff off your get whatever's on your mind, get it off of your chest when it's necessary, when the time calls for it. Don't just, go crazy with anything that comes in your mind because a lot of that will be from ego. But be open with something that bothers you with other people, with love. Like talk, speak with love, and then be heard. Make sure you're um, mm. Isis, magic manifesting. Your dreams, visions, and goals are becoming a reality. Stay focused. There's a beginning within every ending. Illusions are revealed and released. That's
Mm,
definitely coming, or that's now.
yeah, that fits for what's shifting. And I feel like even with this, this lunar eclipse with the energies that are coming through, some of it's not all action oriented. It's
Mm-mm,
really internal, and
mm-mm,
then soon it will become external. And that's not to say not cleaning up, but I feel like bringing that love in, and some of that like getting off your chest might just be writing a letter to someone that you never send, rather than throw those daggers. Like, write that letter till the tears pour out,
absolutely.
say that apology to yourself, whatever it needs, that communication that you need to do from heart to you. Sometimes that does a lot to release, or at least it has for me.
Hmm. And that I think that's what I was getting with the Knight of Swords earlier is once you're doing this work, then you can bring it to the outside world, and that's coming back to me now when um you give and receive in balance is being able to like feel worthy of receiving what you give.
Yeah, yeah, and knowing when to lay that balance, that's huge. Yeah.
Um, because until you heal from this, none of your relationships with anyone is like until you like have a good relationship with yourself. No relationship that you have is gonna be what it should be.
Mm, yeah, yeah. And at the same time, that cup of love, even though it comes external and internal, like it. Oh my, we don't do this alone. We don't live in a cave. As much as we talk about that hermit energy and us
Mm,
introverts, like we don't have to say my apologies. Like we're not perfect,
mm.
and we're
No,
gonna
we're
keep.
social creatures.
Yeah.
Mm. We need love and affection and human interaction in all forms.
Hmm. Hmm.
Someone said to me once, let your guard down. Why don't you let anyone close to you? Well, it was obvious to him, it was my past that had made me that way. But then I took that because, from my childhood, but then I brought it into my adult life and I projected that onto every relationship that I've been on. So not only did I bring about those situations, but um, I allowed those type of people. They seen me. They seen that I was vulnerable. They seen that
Mm,
I didn't trust anyone, and they really took advantage.
yeah. But I think it's important to see that doesn't happen overnight, and that each day you can start with. I have the turtle spirit here, and I think of Nemo with this, and we were talking about Nemo the other day, but those happy-go-lucky turtles, and it was just like in the moment, but it's like you can catch that current and roll with it
Yep.
and let it take you. You can stay in the flow of life and just see where that state of being takes you, so long as you're kind of like elevated in your mentality and your thought process, if that makes sense.
I
'Cause
kept
it's more
hearing,
like,
just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
yeah, we were saying that too the other
Like
day.
a shark, if it stops swimming, it'll die. But also a shark will only grow but so big according to its environment. The ocean, it can
Mm,
get 10, 12 feet, but in a small aquarium, you get like 7, 8 inches.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Um, okay, so I brought out my moon oracle deck.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I pulled the new moon in Aquarius, bring love into the situation, and that's pouring the love back into you. Why is
Mm,
everybody else deserving of love, compassion, and understanding, but you're not?
Mm-hmm.
So give that love back to yourself. And then imagine how much more love you can give to the outside world if you love yourself. Like if you're coming from a place of pure love, like if you are pure love, of course you're going to come from a place of pure love. Um,
Mm-hmm.
New moon in Sagittarius, luck is on your side. This
Nice.
Sagittarian energy, the sun is in Sagittarius right now. That's uh Sagittarius is very philosophical. Like you're gonna have a deeper understanding and awareness of really who you are, what you are, who other people are, and who they're not. A
Yeah, I
lot of
feel like
times we're attracted to people because of their potential, but if they lack the desire to reach their full potential, then it's meaningless. That just came to me. And
interesting.
then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Trusting trusting what you see, like rather than what you want to see.
Yes, yes. Like if someone shows you who they are, then what they tell you is irrelevant. Trust what they show
Mhm.
you. When they show you several times who they are, really trust that. I also got the new moon in Aries. It's time to take action. Aries is fire, passion, aggression, creativity. It's it's not passive.
Mm-mm. No,
This
we
is a
initiate things.
yes, yes, absolutely. Get the ball rolling, go do it.
Yeah.
Also, it's the child, the infant of the zodiac. It's the beginning, starting of a new cycle. Is the very first sign in the zodiac, and you're this is the rebirth coming. In order to go through a rebirth, you have to go through a death, and like the caterpillar that turns to a butterfly, there's a period where it's in the womb, so to speak. You know, it's dark and lonely and cold, but it's doing a lot of stuff in there to get ready to present itself as this beautiful new butterfly.
So what do you need to lay for your foundation, and what work do you need to do to provide the environment for you to create the momentum and the trajectory of your life? Like what's gnawing at you now that can no longer go with you? What foundation needs to be laid with that love, embrace, and that compassion? How can you use that passion of Aries, that initial passion, to start to lay the groundwork emotionally, socially, energetically, physically? Yeah. And that's what starting to take those steps, I think, is part of the healing process. We've been using the word healing as some, it happens on different levels, and it can sometimes things can shift really quickly when you want to. Yeah.
Um, Healing has been a big topic, not just like in this atmosphere, with you know the healers that we know, but with people that really don't even know what's going on, like with astrology and tarot and spirits and all that stuff. Like just regular, ordinary people are going through things that they don't know. They don't know what it is,
Mm.
and they know that they need to make changes and do things, but where do they start? And how do they get the ball rolling? And you gotta. And I think now, like new truths are gonna come. And they're gonna get. They're gonna get signs from like places that they never expected, like scrolling through Facebook or whatever. That's gonna be a catalyst to their healing. Like you go down the
Mm.
rabbit hole and you start learning things, whether it's studying a new religion or uh, a new hobby, something to express yourself
Mm.
where you're at and where you should be.
I think I like that what you said, a new hobby and a way to express yourself, because I feel like that's a way to get energetically into your flow. And
Mhm.
I think sometimes we take for granted those gifts that allow us to be who we innately are, however that presents itself.
Oh, look, this is my favorite, my favorite little deck. I swear, not just because it's small and cute, but it's always on point.
Nice.
Forgive self. Oh, can you see it? Better feeling thoughts, fulfillment, and healing.
Nice.
And in order to forgive yourself, you have to think differently of yourself. Know that everything that you've done, while it may have, you know, unintentionally been self destructive, there was all good reason, good intention behind it. You did the best you could with the knowledge that you had at the time, or whatever the situation is. So find solace in that.
Nice. Yeah.
And in order to be fulfilled, like I had said earlier, only you can fill that void inside of you. You can't, like, you can have 20 kids and that's not going to fill the void. You can have multiple partners, it's not going to fill the void. You can have a million cats, nothing is going to help. Also, with expressing yourself, okay, I got judgment separates and sex. Look, sometimes you need to get your rocks off. Sometimes you have to put yourself out there. Is necessary. And I don't, yeah, I had the need to say that because a lot of people have a uh, messed up view on sex or interpersonal relationships. But I think that with everything changing, I'm not saying go out and have a million partners, but waiting for marriage or 8, 9 months, while that's a lot of people's choices, a lot of people don't choose that. So express yourself
Yeah.
in any way. Oh, and also I'm getting it's time to stop fucking ourselves and start making love to ourselves.
So that shift from more intimate,
Hmm.
more love, more compassion over either, I'm gonna just, instead of banging, it's more of that softer feel and connection,
Hmm.
however that is.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And allowing that vulnerability. Yeah, that's huge.
Absolutely. 'Cause I'm horrible with being vulnerable still. And like you said, this isn't gonna be something that happens overnight. It's not. You're gonna be forever growing, forever healing. But that doesn't take away from how far you've come already.
Right.
But there's
Right.
no timeline on this. There's no timeline on what you do with yourself or for yourself.
True.
So really be gentle with yourself. Be easy with yourself. We're so overly critical of the craziest things that don't even really matter. And for what?
That's a good point. And for what?
Yeah. Because
Like, what did
somebody
that?
else said that? Like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I've heard people, like, well, I've known people that will live their whole life because of something someone once told them, simply to find out that the person doesn't even remember that they told them that. Oh, I don't believe that anymore. You live your whole life with that.
Yeah,
It's
that's good.
crazy.
Yeah. But we have a choice to shed those layers and grow past it. And how beautiful is that opportunity? And I feel like the cosmos, the planet, planets, the energies now are really asking for that forgiveness, love, and compassion, and providing all those opportunities to see yourself a new light and give you the steps forward to change and give you that support you need. being open to receive it, I think, is important right now.
And with all of this support, it 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 should be obvious that it's going to be appreciated if you take these steps. And the universe will show its appreciation for the hard work that you put in. Because really, when we heal ourselves, that's the best thing we can do for this planet. It's the best thing we can do to heal the planet. Because if you think about it, if Mother Nature helps us, like we grounding, earthing, go walk around barefooted, the earth will affect your vibration, your heart rate, blood flow. So of course we're gonna affect the earth. And if all of us are at such a low vibration, it's gonna bring the earth to a lower vibration, making it sick.
Yeah. No, I think that's important to recognize that it's bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
so much,
Yeah.
this work is so much bigger than just us. But luckily all we have to focus on is just us. We don't have to take the weight of the world on just for us to help heal the world. um, I'm trying to go through my notes to see what else it was I wanted to say because I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, um, using affirmations, daily affirmations.
And yeah.
That was a message I had got that it really does help. And it sounds crazy to sit there and like you don't have to stare in the mirror, but I do. Like look in the mirror and you say these things to yourself. It feels awkward at first, but you really do get in that energy and that vibration. I am worth more than the lies that I tell myself. I deserve to be loved and respected.
Beautiful.
These are all facts. And you're safe to be vulnerable and open with others.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I think it's a good way to kind of set the tone for the day is to rise above your thoughts and notice how they're turning and how you can use that affirmation to redirect your thoughts to then give you a higher vibration, put you in the flow, rather than allow your negative self-talk tape to drag you down. Yeah.
Uh, And also knowing that you're allowed to make mistakes. You're human. Mistakes are necessary in order to learn lessons.
Yeah. Yep.
Allow yourself to be human. And that goes back to being gentle with yourself and forgiving.
Yeah. Definitely.
I also want to speak a little bit on boundaries.
Okay.
Um, the boundaries that we've allowed people to disrespect for so long is really important to enforce them now and revisit them. Some may need adjustments, be more firm and strict with some or more lenient with others. But boundaries is it's a really good thing to have, especially when you're going inside. It's kind of like like what I'm seeing is like a ADT security.
Mm,
Like people know not to cross these boundaries when you're not home. You know what I mean? Because you're going to be inside looking, looking within and taking care of yourself. You don't have to
mm.
worry about people disrespecting you while, you're doing all of that.
Okay. That's good. Okay. Yeah.
Did you have
Anything
any?
else?
No, I think that was all. I was about to ask you the same thing.
No, I think I'm good. I don't have anything else that's coming to mind. No, I thank you for sharing this time and
Thank
exploring.
you. I appreciate you.
Likewise, and I do hope this served well, and know that your own awareness to your own experience is far greater than anything we can say or a card can show. You are your best teacher.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.